Hi, it's Jen. Today I wanted to share with you how I get my painted wood grain effect on paper. And I do this when I want to make a journal card, and I even do it when I make journal covers. So what I do, I start with a piece of craft cardstock, and then I paint it. So the paint that I use is the Deco Arts Antique White All-Purpose Acrylic. And then I put it on a used piece of parchment. And I thought I would just show you how I do it, just till you get your own technique. So I do use a dry brush when I paint. And then I just put it in the paint, and then I just flatten my brush and do swoops. And I try to stagger them. And I keep on going on the page until my brush kind of gets out of paint, and then I just start going like this. I'm trying to get that look because I don't paint heavy all over, but I'm still trying to empty my brush out of all the paint that it has. And then I do go back in here to try to grab some more paint. And then I do that until my whole page is covered with paint. And I'll show you one that's done. And I do both sides. And it doesn't take that long for the paint to dry at all. So I paint both sides. And when you first look at it, you're thinking, doesn't look all that great. Well, after you get both sides painted and you let them dry for a bit, I sand my paper. And I got this from my husband's, his shop. But this is just a fine grit sandpaper. And when I sand it, I go in the same direction of how I painted. And then I just sand all over. And I do sand on both sides of the paper until it looks like this. And I do this outside because it does get a little bit dusty. And then after I do that, I take a microfiber cloth and I wipe it just to get any excess powder off of your paper. And then after I do that, I cut the paper into the size that I like. And the size that I'm doing is 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. Right now what I'm doing is I'm making thank you cards. So I came up with this. I've used this technique before when I've made journals. So this is going to be a card, and I'm thinking, well, this would be a really cute journaling card for a junk journal. And so I cut the paper at 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then the next thing to do is to choose what side of the paper you want for your front and for your back. Now, I liked the look of this as my front, and then I chose my back. Now the back, that's where I chose to stamp my wood grain. And the stamp that I use, I got it on Amazon, but it's the Darkroom door, the background stamp, and it's wood grain. And so I just stamped that on the back of my paper. And then after I did that, I decided if I wanted to round any of my corners. And I chose to use the scallop corner punch from We Are Memory Keepers. And then after I punch my corners, I ink all around my edges. And when I ink my edges, I do the front and I also do the back. But when I do the back, I try to go right into the wood pieces just to kind of blend it all in. So I do go far into the paper when I ink on the back. And I just think that just looks so pretty. Because sometimes when you look at your paper, when it's plain, I can't imagine it looking like this. But when I stamped it, thought it looked really pretty. Well, then after you ink all around your edges and you stamped the back side of your paper, and then now's the time to do any decorating that you would like. And what I chose to do is I just chose to do a ruffle out of material, and this measurement is 1 inch by 9 3/4. And then I just folded it up to make a ruffle. And I wanted to make this journal card pretty simple because it is going to be going through the mail, because this is going to be my thank you cards. And so I wanted to keep it pretty simple and not too heavy. But you can do more stamping, you can decorate however you like. But I wanted enough room down here to write everything that I wanted to write. And when I sew, I do leave my ends on. I just think that adds another layering style to your piece. And then after I did that, I added a button. And behind the button, I put cheesecloth and some thread. And all I did, I'll bring this in here. All I did is you cut however much thread you'd want. And then I just scrunch it up until you get the look that you like. And then I took a scrap piece of cheesecloth and I just spread it apart to get the worn out look. And I do play with this for a little bit so I can get everything opened. And then I just set it right on top of my thread, and then I glue a button down. And inside the button, I've tied a knot with a piece of twine. And then I glue that down with glossy accents, just so it has a really nice hold. And then there's one more thing that I do. On the back side was to stamp handcrafted on a piece of material. The size of the material is 1 1/8 of an inch by 3/4 inches. And then I just glued that to the back, and then my thank you card is done. You can always add a sentiment to it if you like, or stamps on the side, but I wanted to make sure I had enough room to do my writing. And that is it today. A quick, easy journal card that you can use as a thank you note or just as a thinking of you note. And I think the painted wood grain look is really sweet. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found something that you can use in your journal making. And don't forget, don't throw it or junk. Let's journal with it. Take care, guys.